Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good to see everybody in here. Hey, Brat Brat, number one girl. Number one, all right. PG, much love. Much love to you, girl. Much love to you. God bless. And Miss Justice 111, number two in here tonight. Number two. Much love, PG. Hey, girl. Much love and prayers to you. God bless. And let's see. Janet, number three. Much love to you too, girl. You number three in here. PG, much love. Hey, girl. God bless. God bless. And Carrie, you are number four. Hey, beautiful PG Mods chat. Good to see y'all. Much love. Hey, good to see you too, girlfriend. You know it. God bless. All right, let me get down through here and see who else is in the chat tonight. Oh, Ruby, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I really like that. God bless. Oh, I appreciate that. Appreciate it, Carrie. Absolutely. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up, you guys. It helps keep the kids out here. It helps us keep on keeping on. Let's see. Hey, Rita, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. And there's Lynn. How you doing, hon? Good to see you tonight. She says hello to everybody in the chat and to PG. Hey, girl. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Marianne. Good to see you too, girlfriend. God bless. Much love. There's Georgia Wild Child. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Good to see you in here. Hey, Deputy Sheriff. I see you. There you are. God bless. Good to see you in here. Hey, Karen. I'm trying to get to the bottom, you guys. There's Chris. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Wendy, good to see you. I'm moving as fast as possible. I try not to miss nobody, but sometimes I do. Hey, Wood Fairy, good to see you. Oh, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, Ruby, hi there, everyone. Much love to everybody. She's sending you flowers. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Oh, I think I missed somebody. True Crime, how you doing? Good to see you in here. God bless. Anna, good to see you, sweetie. Oh, I ain't sure if I called you Wendy, but I'm calling you now. All right. Hey, Bridget, good to see you, girl. Good to see you. Amen. Amen, Rita. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's time for Summer Moon Utah Wells to get justice. Amen. Absolutely. Hi, Australia. She cracking up. She said, hey, 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 PG. Hello, 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 sweetie. Silly rabbit. How you doing tonight? Good to see you. Good to see you. Patty Ponytail, there you are, girl. Much love and prayers to you. Stephanie, good to see you. Good to see everybody coming in. God bless. I'm gonna get right to it tonight, you guys. I'm gonna get right to it. Marlena Crawford, right out of her own mouth. We got a lot to go through tonight, so let's get to it. You also said Fred Heal shot at you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
He shot at me. He shot at me one night because he was drunk or messed up, and we was riding 4-wheelers, and he shot at me then.
Why would he do that?
I have no idea.
Hey, Wood Fairy. Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming in here. God bless. And Mary, good to see you, sweetie. Good to see you. Mag, good to see you, hon. Absolutely justice for Summer. Absolutely. God bless. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. You guys were riding the four-wheelers up at 110 Ben Hill Road?
Yeah, we were riding up to, there's a teepee up there at the back of the hill.
Right.
It's way back in there.
And that road dead ends.
Yeah, and it goes up to a teepee at the back of it, and there's a waterfall up there.
I didn't see nothing like that.
It's way up in there.
Oh, okay.
The only way you can get to it is if you ride a four-wheeler up in there.
Okay.
Or horses.
Right. Yeah. The Light brothers and those people there, they're the ones with the horses and stuff that go up inside of those mountains and everything. I wanted to ask you. Yeah. Fred tried to say that wasn't true. You know what he told me? He told me, and I do have receipts. He told me that it was his uncle. It was his uncle that did that. All right. And I found out that his uncle supposedly, was deceased. All right. I'm like, whoa. You can't overly believe Fred, right? You can't overly believe anything Fred says. This is Marlena Crawford. This is Marlena. She was one of the groupies that hung out on Ben Hill Road. You left. I know that you left your daughter unattended with Candace and Don Wells because they told me you did. They told me that their daughter was staying up there with them. Your daughter was staying up there with them for a few days before she was picked up. Is that
she wasn't picked up? Grandma brought her home on a Friday afternoon, and she was supposed to stay until Monday.
Right. And how long had she been up there? How long?
She was up there from Wednesday night to Friday morning.
And is that the only time that you have?
That was the only time I ever let her go up there, period, by herself, whatsoever.
Hey, Janet, that is hilarious. Marlena was Fred's ex. No, Laura was his ex. but I sure love you saying that. That was a good one, girlfriend. Right? That was really good. Well, I'm going to educate you on the Wells, on Don Candace Wells, and Don's ex-wife Pam Wells, and a whole lot of other things you might not know. I'm sure they don't want you to know. For one, in Arkansas, let's start in Utah. Don and Pam Wells got together, and up in Utah, they tried to sell Don Wells tried to sell their son to the drug man, according to his sister Mary. Now, and they tried to also sell their daughter. I don't know if you was aware of that.
I mean, it all makes sense because Donnie, how do I say this? Donnie, my daughter came home that day because Grandma brought her home. And she came home and told me that they were packing a bag for her to go away. And it was only her going, not the boys, that her and Daddy was taking a trip. That's what they told my youngin'.
Right.
Okay, so everybody thinks that she's dead or whatever. My opinion is they took her to the cartel because he owed them some money and they came and got her.
Now here's what I want to ask. Did they call your mother to pick her up?
No, her mama brought her to my house.
Okay, so Candace brought her.
No, Candace's grandmother.
Okay, Grandis.
Grandma. Yeah, Grandis.
She brought your daughter to your house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so your mother didn't go pick up your daughter.
Nope.
Okay, when you was saying grandma, I thought you was talking about your mom went and picked up your daughter. Okay, so it was Grandis that brought your daughter, which was supposed to stay there until Sunday. Grandis brings your daughter to your home, and your daughter, when she arrives home with you, she tells you that Summer's got a bag packed and she's going away with Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, here's something I want to ask you. Did your daughter show any signs of acting different or anything like that? I mean, out of the norm for a few days after that particular episode? Or did she act scared? Did she act intimidated? Did she act withdrawal or any? Did you see any signs of anything in your daughter that was different than she was before she went there?
That I can tell, no.
Okay.
But see, here's what the deal is. At that time, also, right after that, right after that. Well, right before that, somebody accused me and my sister-in-law of touching my girls, and I didn't. So that kind of makes sense where that came from. So that means that one of them down there on that goddamn sorry ass hill called and said that I was doing something because DCS was sent to my house and they had to take her and get her checked and she wasn't never messed with. And that's the only reason DCS cleared me and my sister-in-law.
And was this now it don't sound like her and her sister-in-law was cleared, because her daughter got took and her daughter got put with her sister, right? Put a 1 in the chat if that sounds about right. I mean, she got her child took. If she would have been cleared, she'd have been able to keep her child, right? DCS goes in and, takes the child because of this accusation. They check the child and they end up taking the child, right? Don't sound to me like she was cleared. That, that's just, that's my opinion. That's my opinion, y'all. I'm going to keep it. It sounds like, everything didn't go well. When the little girl got checked, everything did not go well. Now, I also have seen, a picture. There's a picture floating around. And put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you have seen this particular picture roaming around of Marlena Crawford's daughter. She's holding a puppy that looks like it came from the Wells house. Actually, it it didn't look like. She said that Candace and them had given her daughter yucky, but the dog that her daughter was holding was not yucky for sure, but it looked like there was some bruising on the inside thighs of the little girl. It's too graphic. I didn't bring it out. I'm not going to bring it out, but it is floating around out there. And you could clearly, and I personally have seen it with my own eyes. You can clearly see, it looks like, it looks bad. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look where a child should be having bruising, if you ask me. I understand kids get bruises on the front of their knees and they get bruises, on their shins and they get bruises, on their elbows. Everybody skins their elbows and their knees, and hitting their funny bones and all kinds of, you could do a lot of weird stuff, stomp your toes and so forth and so on. But usually, no child, has bruising on the insides of their thighs, the way as bad as that child, you know, had bruising. And I seen it with my own eyes. So, you know, it didn't look right to me. That's my opinion. Something just didn't look right there. And I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call it out. And she didn't get the kid back. So it don't sound like everything went hunky dory as she, is trying to portray there. If you ask me. Now, I'm going to move on.
On the farm. Before that, I just and spent a bunch of time on prayer gardens, and then now I'm talking to you all.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that. Yeah, there's all kinds of people that I suspect. You've been up here. You know what it's like up here. I mean, I wish I would have drove you around and showed you a lot of shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been all around the area. I drove all around the area. And like you told me there was a girl that you suspected when I had talked to you that was coming around that hung out with some riffraff. And what was her name? Marlena or something like that?
Marlena Crawford. And I have no qualms about spreading her name, because the fact of the matter is, the bitch come up here with Bobby Dykes when she knew exactly, because we was trying to help her at the time, and we give her all kinds of money. We done everything we could to help her. We babysitted her daughter. She'd come up here and dump her fucking daughter off. Sorry, I don't mean to say it like that. Sorry, my bad. Excuse me, please. But she'd come up here and bring her daughter up here. She's a precious little girl, beautiful little girl. And she would just dump her off here for weeks at a time while she went out and done her dope or whatever the fuck the hell she done. And I didn't have a problem with that, but she was taking advantage of us. And then when she knew where me and Candace were at a certain point in time, she brought her cousin or whoever she is, a friend, Bobby Dykes, up here, and they stole every tool out of my shed that they could, and everything that they could steal.
And you said she was like living in a homeless camp or something at one point, or something like that on the road?
Well, I mean, her husband, he's in the meth and everything, and they didn't, they just have some hard times. I mean, her mother has custody of her kid right now. I'm not going to mention her name or anything.
Now, see, Don Wells thought that her mother had custody, not her sister. And he was swarming the mother's house there for a while. Going down there, going by there, going around there, like really a lot. A few months ago. Now, I don't know if he's still doing it. I doubt it, because now he knows, that she's not with the mother. She's with, the sister. But and being with the sister who's with Chad, I don't think Donald wants to go swarming Chad's place. That wouldn't be good for him. Even with Chad in jail, he wouldn't want to swarm Chad's place, because Chad knows a lot of undesirable human beings that Don don't want to, affiliate himself with, I'm sure. But the point being is, Marlena spilled the beans. She spilled the beans, between her telling everyone about, basically why her daughter was taken right there. She spilled the beans as in, why my daughter's gone, about her and her sister-in-law. You heard Don Wells sit there and say, she allowed, she dumped her daughter off for weeks at a time, and they gave her money. They gave her money. They gave her all kinds of stuff. That don't sound right, because Don and Candace Wells are all takers, not givers, right? Put a one in the chat if you know Don and Candace ain't no givers. They're all takers, right? It's all take, no give. So if they're giving somebody anything, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. They're getting, they're getting something out of it. They're getting something out of it. And it sounds like Marlena's daughter staying on. And you heard Don Wells. Let's listen to it again, because it's kind of sick. He talks about how pretty this little girl is.
And spent a bunch of time on prayer gardens, and then now I'm talking to you all.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that. Yeah, there's all kinds of people that I suspect. You've been up here. You know what it's like up here. I mean, I wish I would have drove you around and showed you a lot of shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been all around the area. I drove all around the area. And like you told me there was a girl that you suspected when I had talked to you that was coming around that hung out with some riffraff. And what was her name? Marlena or something like that?
Marlena Crawford. And I have no qualms about spreading her name because the fact of the matter is, the bitch come up here with Bobby Dykes when she knew exactly, because we was trying to help her at the time, and we give her all kinds of money. We done everything we could to help her. We babysitted her daughter. She'd come up here and dump her fucking daughter off. Sorry, I don't mean to say it like that. Sorry, my bad. Excuse me, please. But she'd come up here and bring her daughter up here. She's precious.
See? Right there. He said, dumped her off.
We babysitted her daughter. She'd come up here and dump her fucking daughter off. Sorry, I don't mean to say it like that. Sorry, my bad. Excuse me, please. But she'd come up.
And someone talking like that, someone talking like he talks, I'm going to tell you, has no respect. He has no respect for children. None whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Up here and bring her daughter up here. She's a precious little girl, beautiful little girl. But she'd come up here and bring her daughter up here. She's a precious little girl, beautiful little girl. My bad. Excuse me, please. But she'd come up here and bring her daughter up here. She's a precious little girl, beautiful little girl.
Precious little girl, beautiful little girl. He talked that way about Allison's daughter too, didn't he? Put a one in the chat if you remember him talking about Allison's little girl like that as well. Don Wells shows all signs of being, an essayer to children, if you ask me. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. This is very sick. Very sick. Very sick. But you heard it out of the horse's mouth, right? You heard it out of the horse's mouth. We're going to move on.
All right. Well, that's good. Y'all go over there and ask why exactly it is he was selling drugs to the children at 110. Why he was potentially causing little girls over there to be sedated and to be touched with the shit he was selling over there. Go ask. Because I have fucking questions. I'm not standing in front of him anymore. Yeah. And I found about a few days before all the shit went down. I'm not kidding, dude. And I got the fucking receipts on it. And I'm sure law enforcement does as well. He had known Summer was also being abused, and he hid it from everybody, including me. And he was very much selling drugs to the children at 110. And to Candace for those children. Now, what all that was, I don't know. But I do know it was happening. And I very much think it plays a role in what was happening to other little girls over there. And I very much do think that it could be part of why Summer looked so asleep.
There you go. There you go. Right out of the horse's mouth again. You go ask Andy what he was given to Candace to sedate those little girls so they could be touched. A lot of little girls. Not just Summer. A lot of little girls. And who had their little girls up on the hill? And who else was being accused of touching their children? To the point that, their child is been taken away and put with their sister. I'm going to tell you, this sounds like a ring of some real undesirable human beings right here. This sounds like a ring of pure freaking evil, if you ask me. And all of these people are pointing fingers at each other. And when you're pointing a finger at somebody, you got 4 pointing back at yourself, right? When you point that finger, 4 is coming back at you. This is a real bad group of people. And I'm going to tell you, Marlena really has, helped a lot by, letting us understand how, how spread out this group of people are, right? Because she's not inside of Ben Hill Road. She's on the outside. So that shows us that people on the outside are involved on the inside, right? Of all of this. It's the same, it's the same thing in Utah, the same thing in Arkansas. And, Don Wells just couldn't, he just couldn't throw it down, let it be, and walk the straight and narrow path. He had to start it up again in Tennessee to the point that, his own child paid the price. To get all the rest of these children the safety and the security that they should have always had. Under the protection of their own parents, who seem to be involved in all of this. Some really sick, disgusting stuff right here. Yeah. I have to agree, Carolyn. Absolutely. I have to agree, sweetie. Yeah. Really disgusting. But we're going to move on because we ain't done yet. Now, the cops did. The police did show up there. They did show up. The police did show up. But you know what? Don Wells, and Candace knew how to spin the table. They knew how to spin the table. When police showed up, Don Wells was at his truck with a pow pow that was perfectly legal for him to have, perfectly legal. He knew that he wasn't going down for that. But he put the focus on that to take the focus off what this 911 call was really about, because he'd have got his ass arrested. And Summer would have been taken, and she would have been, checked like Marlena's daughter. And all those kids would have been taken then, in my opinion. They would have all been gone then, had it all went down the right way. If the operator would have really been listening for the cry of help from this child and told law enforcement, you need to talk to this child, get this child alone, talk to this child, see what was going on with this child. You need to get children's services up there. There's something ain't right here. You get, I want you to separate these people. I want you to talk to each one of them, why this whole 911 call was made, because it don't sound right here. I think we could have, a situation where a child is being hurt in the wrong way, and we don't want that. But they failed Summer. They didn't listen. They heard, but they didn't listen. There's a big difference between hearing and actually listening. Right? We all know about that. We heard our parents, right? But we didn't listen. If we would have listened, well, our lives would have been a lot better. And we wouldn't have had to, run into the wall to learn, to learn the hard way, right? But Don knew how to spin that table, and so did Candace. And they took the focus off of what this real 911 call was about. And like they take the focus off of a lot of things that way. These are very evil people using very old tricks of the trade, right? The devil's got a whole pocket full of tricks, right? And these evil people, honey, let me tell you, they're not just in their pockets. A lot of them's up their sleeve. And they know how to use those tricks because they're evil. And they learn those kind of tricks and they put them to use. And Don Wells thinks, if he can, put a seed, plant a seed of doubt in a human's mind, well, that seed he just planted, it's going to grow. It's going to grow because a lot of people don't know better than to not let it grow. A lot of people don't know how to snatch onto the table and say, hey, you ain't turning it on me. Right? A lot of people ain't, affiliated with evil people, so they don't know what to look for or how to handle it when it's coming their way. A lot of people would like to just turn a blind eye. They like to turn their head the other way. Not realizing that, well, that evil is taking advantage of you. It hopes you turn your head the other way so it can, so it can get its foot in the door and it can get at you. And it will. And it will. If you allow it. You can't allow it. But this is the type of people that these humans are. That's what, you're dealing with here. Now, a lot of people, it's been going around in a circle that, this 911 call was about Don rushing back into Tennessee and being jealous over Jose and, big thing broke out. No, that is not true. Don Wells left Tennessee because he tried to get ugly and step up to his dad. And he was trying to tell his dad, I'm bringing my family here and we're taking over your home. We're taking over everything you have. Just like when I went to Tennessee and took everything over from Mom, I'm coming here and I'm going to now take it over from you. And his dad said, no, you're not. And Don Wells got ugly and even tried to step up to his dad to the point that the other people there had to step in and say, oh no, you're not going to, step up to your dad. You're not going to fight your dad. You're going to have to come through us before you get to him. You're not coming here and you're not taking over anything. Your mama might have not have had nobody there to protect her, but your dad does. And you're not coming here and playing that shit on this ground. And his dad told him, I want you out of here. I'm not going to have someone here telling me how they're going to take anything that I worked for, that I paid for, that, I bought. And that belongs to me. You're not going to come in here with your lazy ass that hasn't ever did anything to acquire one thing on the face of this earth of your own, and just try to take what I have worked for. You're not doing it. I want you and your child to get out of here, and I want you to get out of here now. Don't come back. And he sent Don a packing along with some of those other men, Mary's husband, and some of the other men that were married up to Mary's family and Mary's brother as well. There was a lot of, guys there that were younger than Don Wells, getting ready to step up to him. And he took his ass and he went right back into Tennessee, and he already knew Jose was there, and he was fine with Jose living there. And, Jose was working, and everything was good until Jose demanded Summer be taken out of the shower with Don Wells. When he told Candace, I'm getting her towel, and if you don't if you don't take her out, I will go in there and take her out. That's what the whole 911 call was about. That's what it was about. It was about Don Wells obviously doing something very disgusting that Jose heard or seen, or both. He knew what was going on, and he said, hell no, not on my watch. What kind of mother allows a man to do this? You get her out of there, and you get her out now. And that's when the whole thing went down. And as you heard Candace on the 911 call, he's still trying to get Summer. He's still trying to go at Summer. Old boy was really wanting it and felt he had a right to be doing it. Don Wells is one of those people that believe he has a right to overstep boundaries and do things that are disgusting to other human beings. Him and Candace both. Now let's go back to the lady in Arkansas that felt sorry for Candace being, with child, and said, you guys can stay with me, for a few days until you can get something of your own. I'll take you in. And they trapped her at a refrigerator. They trapped the woman at her own refrigerator. And and Don and Candace are going to attack this woman in her own house at her own refrigerator after she was kind enough and willing to help these scumbuckets. Because Don and Candace they don't have no boundaries. There's no boundaries with these bastards. If you let one of them get their foot in your door, well, they feel that they feel that they have all rights to that domain. And I'll tell you now, they will literally push you out and take over everything. They don't know how to take no for an answer. They're sick. They're sick and they're evil. Dom Wells and Candace Wells both are very forceful human beings that think they got some God-given right to try to mess over other human beings. And they see kindness as weakness. Dom Wells saw Summer as his property, just like he saw his stepsister and those other girls. He saw them as his property. They're inside, they're inside my home. They're around my home. He tries to make people his property. He thinks that, he owns people. He doesn't understand that you don't own humans. There's a lot of people that way. A lot of people, believe that they own, if they get married, they own a man. Or if they're dating somebody, they own them. Men act like they own women. Women act like they own men. No, you don't own nobody. You own nothing. These people are their own human beings. And nobody owns them. They're free to come and go as they please. And if they say, they don't want you touching them or talking to them or being around them, then you need to be respectful enough to respect them and just get the hell out of their bubble, because you don't own nobody. But there's a lot of people that don't understand that. They think a marriage license is a mother freaking, is a freaking deed or a title. It's not. It's an agreement. It is an agreement to treat each other with kindness, love, and respect. It's an agreement to respect one another's space, to live together but respect one another's space. Dom Wells don't respect anybody's space. He don't respect anybody, period. Evil people are forceful, overbearing, and very territorial. These motherfuckers think they own it. They just walk up and walk in. Don't walk up and walk in nowhere with me. I let you know that right now. The only one that owns anyone is God Almighty. You are a vessel. You are a vessel of God's. Every human being on this earth is a vessel that belongs to God. And you belong to no one else. No one else. You do not have to answer to no one else but God Almighty. He owns everybody and everything. That's your owner right there. And he gave everyone, even Summer, the right. He gave her the right to live, and he gave her the right to say no and it be respected. He gave her the right to want to be left alone and not abused. And it should have been respected. I'm sure that little girl said no. She was saying no there. She was screaming no. She was screaming no. But nobody heard her. And I'm going to tell you, the mother freakers right there, the mother freakers that was going at her were the ones that's supposed to protect her. And you got a lot of that going on in this world. You got a whole lot of the abusers are the ones that are supposed to be protecting their children. You'd be surprised at how many parents are the ones. They are the mother freaking problem. They think they got some right, some ownership to these kids, my kids. I've got kids too, but I'm smart enough to know that they're their own little human beings. I'm smart enough to know that, you know what? God made them and he made them perfect. Because God don't make mistakes. And God gave them their own dreams, their own way of thinking. God made them their own people. They're not me, and I don't own them. And I don't need to be pushing off or trying to live my life through my children. What I need to be doing is helping them live their dreams, respecting their space, and speaking with them, talking to them, instead of trying to abuse them. They don't have to do everything my way. My way ain't right. The only way that's right is God's way. His way is the only right way. My way ain't right. So who am I to push it off on somebody else? No one's way on this earth is right. And Don and Candace Wells, their way sure in the hell ain't right. It ain't ever been right. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to say in my opinion because it's the damn truth. And it sickens me. It sickens me that Don Wells felt that he had some right to abuse a lot of women up in Utah. Well, they weren't even women then. They were children. But now they're women, and they've got to live with that the rest of their life. And you know what? Don don't give a damn. He doesn't care what he's put these women through. He doesn't care anything about how they're living. He doesn't care. And he has abused many other people. Like when he was trying to sell his son to the dealer, according to his first wife and Mary. He didn't care what pain and what suffering or what his son may have, ended up enduring. He didn't care. Because you know what? Don Wells don't even care about himself. He don't even care about himself. He's a waste of skin and bones. And so is his old lady. That's my opinion. I will keep it. I came out here tonight to open everybody's eyes up to Ben Hill Road. I came out here tonight to put these mother freakers up there on Ben Hill Road on their knees where they belong. Where they belong. Because ain't a damn one of them. Not a damn one of them deserves to be standing around and people believing their bullshit. These are a bunch of evil, no good, worthless human beings that took advantage, as you heard Jody Sue say, not only of Summer. What a beautiful little girl. What a beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 5-year-old baby girl. Looking forward to going to kindergarten, finding a lot of little friends, actually getting food, something she didn't get at home. She would have got breakfast. She would have got lunch. So you know what? That mother freaking dollar store pizza wouldn't have been her only meal each day. She was looking forward to learning to read and write, color, to have people telling her how smart she was, how pretty she was, something she didn't hear at home. She was looking forward to all those people who were going to build her up instead of, tear her down. Like Robin did at the church. That child was starved for someone to just protect her and to care about her and to treat her the way a normal child should have been treated. But she didn't get that. She didn't ever get that. And a lot of other little girls hanging around there wasn't getting it either. This was a circle of evil adults not caring what happened to their children. Just so they could get whatever gain they were getting out of it. How damn disgusting is that? I'm going to open everybody's eyes up to the truth tonight. And I don't care how Candace and Dawn want to try to twist the table. And I don't care how, you know, they try to get their little turd pop sucking buddies to twist the table as well. Because I'm going to open everybody's eyes up to Ben Hill Road and what was going on up there. Because everybody out here needs to understand that. And quit supporting sick bastards that do these kind of things. It is time to shut down the evil. Let law enforcement put it where it belongs and get it out of our society and start getting the righteousness back in this world. It's time to quit feeling sorry for evil mother freaking people who don't obey the law. And start letting law enforcement do their jobs. The court system do their job and get them out of our society. We don't need this shit. We don't need it. Too many people. We're losing too many humans, innocent, law-abiding, God-fearing humans that were going to go somewhere in this life, going to make something of themselves in this life, that was going to help people in this life. We are losing these people to evil, disgusting humans that for some reason the devil has done convinced people to stand up and stand for. No, I'm not going to stand up and I'm not going to stand for it. Because I stand with God Almighty and I stand for righteousness. And that evil needs to take a seat in the prisons where it belongs. But we ain't done here. We ain't done. This 911 call wasn't about no Jose and Don flying back to Utah out of jealousy. He thought he could plant that little seed in everybody's mind and everybody was going to, you know, eat that shit. Don't try to spoon feed me that kind of shit, because I ain't even gonna be there for it. I seek the truth. I want the truth. I need the truth. And by God, I'm going to find the truth. Trust and believe that. And I'm going to call it out when I do. And I'm calling it out tonight, baby. I'm going to tell you, people should be upset, all right? You want to know what they should be upset about? They should be upset that people like this are still walking around and law enforcement ain't did their job and put them where they need to be. In jail. I tell you what, yeah, her face is. Her whole motherfucking being is, right? Her whole being is, because anybody that will take the bribe of a new vehicle and send the one person off that was trying to protect her daughter is freaking effed up, if you ask me, right? Mommy, mommy, mommy. She don't get no help. I'm going to tell you what, that mommy right there, that ain't no mommy. That was an incubator. It was an incubator, and it was a broken fucking stick. A broken stick. This woman had no attachment, no bonding to none of those kids. Not a one of them. Only reason she wanted those kids is for Donnie and her to be able to attract other people's kids and be able to do sinister things to those children as well, in my opinion. And you know what? It ain't just my opinion. Jody Sue confessed to it. Jody Sue put it right out there in everybody's face. Help me. Help me, mommy. Help me. She don't get no help. That kid's terrified. Help me. Please. Mommy. Please help me. No. No. I'm going to tell you what. Candace Wells was the same type of mother Sybil had, right? Off the wall and evil as hell. He tried to get her. He done something to Summer. Can you come and arrest him? Right there. He done something to Summer. Can you come and arrest him? But did law enforcement ever back up and say, hey, Don Wells, what the hell did you do to your daughter? We heard this 911 call. What the fuck was you doing to your daughter? Why did you turn the table that night and get the attention on something else so it would be off of what this 911 call was really about? What was you doing, boy? What's up with this? Right? And I'm going to tell you, the old law enforcement would have. Yeah. Back in the day, trust me, they wouldn't have been so kind to Don Wells, right? They'd have got the answers. They'd have got everything they wanted. This case would be solved. But not today. Not today, because the devil's got a hold on a whole lot of humans that want to sit there and go up to bat for people like this. Let's start loving evilness and hating righteousness. Let's start loving the lies and hate the truth. Let's start all being the devil's advocate instead of God's children. Right? Because that's the way it's going. He's trying to get her. He's still trying to get her. This 911 call had nothing to do with Jose. It didn't say Candace ain't saying, hey, my husband's going at this guy that was staying at our house. Hey, my husband and this guy, it's going to be bad if you don't get here. Hey, he showed up. He just got, no. This ain't nothing about Jose. This is all about Summer Moon Utah Wells. This is all about little Summer. Nothing at all about anybody going at any other adult in the house. This guy is focused on this little girl, and that's all Dom Wells is focused on. Because he thinks he owns her. And he has a right to do to her and with her whatever he damn well pleases. Because that's how sick, evil fucks like that think. Oh yeah, I'm just going to lay it down. Because I tell the truth. People might not like it, but I do. I might not say it in such a beautiful little way. But how else can you say something so sinister and ugly and evil? How can you not be pissed off that someone could do a 5-year-old innocent little girl like this? How can you not be angry? Sissy hurts. Sissy hurts. Madam, are you still there? Of course she is. Of course she is. Because she wants to talk to, Candace wants to be in the limelight. She don't care about Summer. She just wants to be in the limelight. Focus all on her. I'm going to tell you right now, a real mother, that 911 operator would have been hearing a real mother protecting her daughter. She would have heard a real mother doing whatever it took to protect her child. That's what she'd have been hearing. He tried to hurt my daughter. I'm going to tell you something. That wasn't the first time, and it wasn't the last. Right? Because we got witnesses. We got witnesses. Even after Jose, we got witnesses. We got True. We got Jody Sue. We've got lots of witnesses that wasn't the first, nor was it the last. Could you only imagine what this little girl was going through? Could you only imagine what she was enduring with this fucking beast up there? This damn monster. This evil piece of shit. Can you only imagine? And up in Utah, he had already put many other girls through that as well. He done put many other girls through it. And then had the audacity to say they wanted it and expect you to believe it. They wanted it. What a sick fuck. We're not done. I know I played that twice because I wanted you to hear it fully out first. And then I wanted to go back and bring it forth again and let it really sink in what was going on inside that house. What this baby was enduring all the time. All the time. Mommy got a new vehicle. Mommy got a new vehicle.
You said you had.
Where the fuck you get that shit from?
Don, you said you had videotapes of me.
What happened? What? What did you say about me? I have videotapes of Josh, apparently. What the fuck?
I don't know why you're laughing. You're the one that said it.
Are you serious?
Don, you said.
How do you know that I said that? Why would I say that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Number one, I don't lie, bitch. You can get that through your.
I don't.
Right
I mean, everybody lies.
No, I don't lie.
He don't do anything but fucking lie. Don Wells doesn't do anything but lie. That's it. And Candace too. And they both know how to turn the table and manipulate people and try to plant those little fucking dirty seeds in people's minds like everybody else is evil but them. Like Don Wells act like his sisters up in Utah, they wanted it. And he said that, he found out later that kids are just curious. Wow, later? What the fuck you doing around kids in that form? Later. What the hell you doing around more children later? Doing the same thing you were doing then. So that that's a mission that he was just as sick later as he was, when he was doing it back in Utah. A lot of people didn't catch on to that. But I sure the hell did. That was a mission. And did you hear him say that he was worried about Summer sold? Did you hear him act like that his daughter wasn't going to make it to heaven? He wanted to blame her instead of his sick, disgusting self. And him not keeping his hands to himself and making sure that everyone else around his daughter did the same. This son of a bitch couldn't protect his daughter because hell, he was the perpetrator. Right? That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. I heard the 911 call. And that 911 call told me that this sick son of a bitch was going at his daughter in the wrong way. That's disgusting.
don't mind, motherfucker.
I'm not sure why Candace thinks it's so funny. I can play it for you if you want to hear it.
Because my boss called me, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, look, Josh.
Okay.
You can scoff or you can suck a dick or whatever you want to do.
All right.
Whatever the fuck it is you do, you little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But my boss called me the other day. Man. Yes.
Okay.
Richard.
Oh.
He called me. I said that I sold somebody a tape, right? I sold some motherfucker a tape for $5,000 that showed him having sex with my daughter, right? And then I sold, and he was crying. This motherfucker was actually crying. This motherfucker is like a big shot of this community. Like, holy fuck! And he was crying. He said, "But they're calling me a child molester," and I'm like, I started laughing.
I don't find that funny. I don't find anything funny about that at all. But Candace sure did. The bitch that's supposed to be protecting her daughter. She sure found it very funny, didn't she? And Don sure found it very, very funny as well. They're sitting there admitting that they let not just Don, going at his daughter. 4-year-old innocent little girl, and that's how old she was when the 911 call was made. 4, not 5, 4. And then there he's admitting that him and Candace both are confessing that they didn't only allow this boss to have at their child at Summer, but they also videoed it. They videoed it and sold the video for $5,000 to someone. And how many other videos do they have? I mean, they're letting the boss have at their child. How many other people were they letting have at their child, right? How many others? Let's hear that again.
My boss called me the other day. Man. Yes.
Okay.
Richard.
Oh.
He called me. I said that I sold somebody a tape, right? I sold some motherfucker a tape for $5,000 that showed him having sex with my daughter, right? And then I sold, and he was crying. This motherfucker was actually crying. This motherfucker is like a big shot of this community. Like, holy fuck! And he was crying. He said, "But they're calling me a child molester," and I'm like, I started laughing.
Ask why exactly it is he was selling drugs to the children at 110. Why he was potentially causing little girls over there to be sedated and to be touched with the shit he was selling them over there. Go ask. Because I have fucking questions. Not standing in front of him anymore. Yeah. And I found about a few days before all the shit went down. I'm not kidding, dude. And I got the fucking receipts on it. And I'm sure law enforcement does as well. He had known Summer was also being abused, and he hid it from everybody, including me. And he was very much selling drugs to the children at 110. And to Candace for those children. Now, what all that was, I don't know. But I do know it was happening. And I very much think it plays a role in what was happening to other little girls over there. And I very much do think that it could be part of why Summer looked so asleep. Is maybe possibly Candace giving her the shit Andy was selling.
Asked him why. She's not going to stand in front of him anymore. She's not going to protect him anymore. You go ask him. He just put a ring on another thing. So you go ask him, because I'd rather see him in jail than with this other woman. Because I'm a scorned woman. I'm all scorned. And I'd rather him be in jail than be with something else. So I'm not going to protect him now that, the money ain't coming into my house. So you go ask him what he was given to Candace to sedate these little girls to be touched. Not just Summer, but other little girls as well. You go on and ask Andy. And from all you've heard tonight, what part of this do you not believe? Because I believe it all. I believe it all. I believe Jody Sue was scorned as hell, and I believe she told the truth. And I believe that, that's where Andy's hand was in all of this. That's where his hand was in all of this. Just saying. I'm sorry. I had someone in my background needing to speak with me, so sorry for that. But anyway, yeah, it was muted. It was muted. I was speaking with someone in my background. But anyhow, I believe she was telling 100% truth. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know how much more people need to hear to understand what was going on here. I don't know how much more they needed to hear. Because I think that everything you heard tonight allows you to understand what the hell was going on up at 110 Ben Hill Road. I think everything you heard here tonight made you understand why Summer was looking so sick and so bad off and needed to be disposed of to keep these criminals from going to prison. I think you all got a full understanding of that tonight. It should be crystal clear. Absolutely, Stephanie. It should be. And in my opinion, I want people to know and understand the truth in Summer's case. I want Summer found. I want Summer brought home. And I want Summer to have her own place to rest. I don't want her resting under someone else. I want the truth to come to the light. I want this little girl to have her own place, her own resting place, where her brothers can get closure and be able to visit their little sister for many years to come and lay flowers on her grave. And know the truth about all of the sinisterness that happened. Hey, Nurse Cindy, I appreciate that, sweetie. I absolutely appreciate that. God bless. I appreciate you supporting Summer's channel. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. And I think, yeah, I seen that. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I appreciate you supporting Summer's channel. Dawn and Candace, you shouldn't be, I can't say that I disagree. I disagree. Everything they put that little girl through, they should be in prison. That's where I believe they should be. I believe they should be in prison. Prayer Garden of America gifted 5 memberships. Hey, that's a gift that will keep giving. All right. That's a gift that will keep giving. God bless. Remind me to thank myself later. Right. Oh, wow. Hey, Yorkshire Rose. I appreciate that. 27 months. Member for 27 months, girlfriend. I appreciate that. God knows I do. Amen. Yeah. I don't think we need to hear anything more. I want everybody to walk off knowing the truth. I want you to walk off from here tonight knowing the solid truth about these people. I want you to walk away from here fully understanding what this little girl went through. I want you to understand the hell that she didn't get walked through. She got drug. This little girl, a lot of people walk through hell. This little girl got drug through it. And I want people to understand how evil these mother freakers up there on Ben Hill Road are. I want them to understand how evil the people surrounding that place that was coming in there partaking of this evilness was as well. It's time that we start standing as one for righteousness. It's time that we start standing up for these children, for these victims who endure and sustain so much. Some of them beyond what we can comprehend. It's hard to believe that that kind of evilness exists in our world, but it does. But it does. And we have to face that. If we want law enforcement and we want the court system to get this out of our society, then we got to face that it's there. We got to open our eyes to it and be willing to face the truth for the sake of these children, for the sake of our communities, for the sake of others that may become victims. Do you think if they've been doing this long, they're going to stop now? They're not going to stop. They're just going to look. They're just going to look for more victims to be had. They're looking to victimize others Where can we find them to victimize? What food pantry can we go to and offer some mother a roof over her head so we can get at her children? Where can we go to find someone like Marlena Crawford, who will drop their kid and leave it somewhere for weeks at a time because they don't want to deal with it either, right? Where can we find these kind of where can we find people as evil as us, uncaring as us, crappy as us? Where can we find more Lisa J's, Marlena Crawfords? Where can we find more of these kind of people at and get them up here on the hill? And hope that law enforcement or nobody's watching. These people are a special kind of evil. A special kind of evil that's seeking children, and these children are going to fall victims to. So we really need to make it a point to try to get Summer found wherever she is. Get her found so justice can be served. I'm tired of hearing TBI say, "Oh, we just got one little piece of evidence, just one little thing that we need." Yeah. Somebody with brains enough to go over and check Morson's cemetery under Timothy Morson's grave, right? That's what the fuck you need. Somebody with enough ass to go over there and get it done. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. You asked her how many swimming pools did the Wells have, and did she ever see them?
She had 2 kiddie pools, like the blow up kind with the 3 rings on the side.
Right.
She had a light green tealish looking one that you get from the dollar store. And then she had one of the round, like the plastic ones, like with the fish on it.
Right.
She had one of those. And then they had an old bathtub, like a jacuzzi tub they had. It was out in the yard for the longest time. They filled up with water just to let her play in it. And then plus the kids had a sleeping slide.
Okay. What time do you think Summer really went missing?
I believe no later than 3:45. Because I got that call about 4:30, and she said she'd been gone 30. I think she said like 30 to 45 minutes, 20 to anywhere from 4 o'clock till 4:30. Let's put it that way, because that's about 45 minutes, about right there, about 5 minutes till about 4. Well, I got the phone call at 4:37. So
I got a phone call at 4:37.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right. Don, do you know who a Chad Arnold is?
Yes, I do.
And so somebody asked me. Said,
yeah, Chad Arnold was married to. No, he didn't die.
I thought he died.
Not that I'm aware of, anyway. But Chad Arnold was at Fred Hill's house when when Candace was looking for Summer. She drove back in the holler to Fred Hill's house, and Chad Arnold was hanging out back there.
Boom, boom. There we go. Chad Arnold, even Don Wells says Candace was meeting up at Fred's place with Chad Arnold. Chad Arnold was back in there meeting up with Candace. And who is Marlena affiliated with? Oh, Chad Arnold. She's Chad's sister-in-law. And she's called, and bingo, exactly. And Candace left her phone on the back of Don's truck because, you know, she said that it was on the back of Donald's truck when she used Grandis's phone to call 911. After, and that was after 6:30 when she done called Donald done called law enforcement. Now she calls into law enforcement, which makes, and she uses Grandis's phone because her phone was still hidden on the back of Don's truck because she left the hill to go meet up with Chad Arnold. And there is, and law enforcement has proof that Candace followed Chad out of Ben Hill Road onto Beach Creek, where Morrison Cemetery is, where there was an open grave, and where I truly believe Summer was taken and put. And that's why they felt she wouldn't ever. They thought that was a brilliant idea. I do too. I think it was until Andy ran his mouth, until Andy Bernard told. It was a brilliant idea until he called it out. And it was one place that law enforcement would not look, because that is a place where everybody knows everybody. They wanted to respect the dead, and they wouldn't have been over there, you know, doing anything to see if someone had put a child in there. They wouldn't even suspect someone would do something like that. I don't think anybody would. I sure the hell wouldn't have. I sure wouldn't have. I don't even think I'd have thought of that. But I'm going to tell you what. Andy Bernard did, didn't he? Good old Andy did.
I have said this since the beginning to people that made a difference. That I've told people about having the dream that I've, in the open grave. It's been told. It's not a lie. And I have heard my whole life that the best time to get rid of somebody is when there's an open grave.
Yeah, and he also knew the best thing to do was drive Candace's vehicle with Starlink so that Don Wells would have an extra alibi too. Trust me, I'm sure that came from Andy Bernard. That's my opinion. I will keep it. Andy's got a hand in this. He showed up at Don Wells' place the night before Don went to jail. Why would he show up? I think it's to tell Don, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. That's just my opinion. I'm going to keep that as well.
Was buried on what day? The 18th? Okay, so 3 days after Summer went missing, they buried that dude. Do you think they dug the grave the day that Summer went missing? I'm saying it was dug between the day the dude died and the day Summer went missing. The 11th. This
dude knows dates, baby. I'm going to tell you the one thing I do know. The one thing I do know is you ain't going to know names, and you ain't going to know dates, and you ain't going to know all the shit unless you got your hands dirty in it. If it don't mean nothing to you, you ain't going to know none of that stuff. You ain't going to know it. You ain't going to remember it. It ain't going to stick in memory. When you're innocent, you had nothing to do with something, names, dates, that none of that shit means nothing to you, and you ain't going to remember any of it. But when you start remembering names and dates, and law enforcement knows this. Law enforcement knows when people can start calling name and dates and everything else. they got their dirty hands in it. Trust and believe me, at least a good officer would.
She went over there on the 15th when Candace left at some point in time off that fucking hill, took her over there. Maybe she went to Fred's and Fred helped her. If it was on the,
maybe she went to Fred's and Fred helped her. I mean, he points right at the place where Chad Arnold's waiting for Candace to show up. Candace gets Marlena's phone call. She goes down and waits at Fred's because here comes Chad in. And she follows him. That's where you turn around. That's where you turn around. So she went down there to wait on him. She went down there, turned around to wait on him. Here he comes in. He comes down, turns around. And she follows him right on out of there. And she done got a text from Andy saying, it's done. It's done. Meaning it's ready. It's all set up. I believe Marlena told Candace, Chad's on his way. Be waiting. And she was. And I think Chad came in and he turned around and Candace followed him right out. After she went up on the hill and she gaslighted the boys and she had mommy watching everything. I'm going to tell you that all of this was pre-planned, premeditated, and carried out June 15th, 2021, because something happened. Somebody went too far, and Summer was very ill from it. And they didn't want, they're not going to let that get them all put in prison. Those people were all worried about their own asses and they didn't care. But you know what? If you cared, you couldn't use and abuse a little girl like that, could you? You couldn't have done the evil thing that would cause this child to have to be destroyed in the first place. If you cared. You are dealing with some really evil, sinister human beings here. Very evil, very sinister. And that's the truth. That's the truth.
All she would have had to do is go over there and dig down just a little bit more, put her in there, cover her back up. When they brought the vault in a few days before they buried the dude, the concrete vault would have been set on top of it and nobody would have known no different. And we know who dug the graves. We know all that shit. So I don't think nobody would have paid any attention to if she was done in there the day of the 15th. I have said this.
Nobody's going to pay attention. I'm going to tell you, it's my opinion they all got their hands dirty. There was some real sinister stuff going on up there. These people were very, very evil and sick. That's my opinion. And it's my opinion because you heard everything tonight coming out of all the horses' mouths. It didn't come out of PG's mouth. Everything you heard tonight came out of their mouths. You can't deny that. You can't walk away from that. You can't walk away from it. You know the truth. You heard the truth. Right from them. Not me, from them. It's stuck in your head now. The truth is stuck in your head. It got all put on the table tonight, right out of the horses' mouths. No way of walking away from that. Just is what it is. And that's why I'm here. I want the truth out there. Summer deserves that. She deserves that. And I have not heard Ronnie Lawson saying that he is not going to be digging up anyone's grave. Ronnie Lawson has not made that statement. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. Matter of fact, you can't even talk to Ronnie Lawson. If you call into Hawkins County, you will not be talking to Ronnie. You will talk to Pruitt. You will talk to a lot of people, but you don't even get to speak to Ronnie. I know that for a fact. So I don't know where Wood Fairy is getting her information. I don't know where you're getting that information, Wood Fairy. The day Don Wells claims he fired Dudley, he also claimed he had to leave work to take him back to Ben Hill to get his own vehicle. Make that make sense? No, that's not true either. There's no truth to that. Don Wells, Dudley did park at Don Wells' house 18 days before Summer went missing, when his vehicle was messing up and where they was working was a really long distance. But not the day he fired Dudley. Dudley had his own vehicle and drove that vehicle himself home. So I don't know where you're getting this information, but it is misinformation. It is misinformation. Don Wells was wanting to plant a seed in everyone's mind that he was related to Ronnie Lawson somehow, in order to get a big laugh out of all the people. It was one of his games he loved playing and leading people to believe that he was, that he was related to Ronnie Lawson and under protection by Ronnie, able to get away with anything he wanted to do because, he had some kind of relation going there. And it's bullshit. It's pure bullshit. If you want to know where the relationship is with Ronnie Lawson, it is Andy Bernard's mother. Andy Bernard's the one. If anybody has protection, it's Andy Bernard through his mommy, which is a very good friend to Ronnie Lawson. They're even friends on Facebook. Been friends for many years. Must have went to school together. Maybe sweethearts at one time or another. But Don Wells, he ain't got no protection by no damn body. So if there's any protection coming into this, it's on Andy Bernard's part, nobody else's. Just saying. And that's why you do your research. That's why, you seek the truth, you find the truth, and you bring the truth. So that, a bunch of lies don't get scattered and start spreading around and messing up the real truth in Summer's case. Lies only hinder. They only hinder and give law enforcement a reason not to solve the case. That's why you shouldn't do it. Because you're not hurting anyone but the victim that you're supposed to actually be out here for. But you know, we'll all answer to God as to why we're out here. Are we out here to spread rumors and lies, or are we out here to spread, you know, to find the truth and spread the truth and use the truth to get the child found and justice served? That's my question. You know, I think she is. I think she is. You know, I might not. I might, you know, I might be, you know, skeptical if Candace wouldn't have said one thing. If Candace Wells wouldn't have said one thing, I might have said, well, you know, the gravesite needs checked. There's a good chance she is there, but we don't know. But because of what Candace Wells, one thing she said, makes me truly believe that's where Summer is. Candace Wells said that Summer was on a black tote. No, she wasn't. She was on 2 brown boxes. So that means that Candace Wells at some point Candace Wells replaced those brown boxes with the black tote, and she fucked up and slipped up and forgot about the original boxes in the video and called out what was there after that. And it was a black tote. And the reason someone would want a black tote is because you're wanting to put the person underground. And obviously a little scared that, you know, that if something goes wrong, you know, it'll be the same color as the earth and won't be noticeable. Meaning if some of the dirt got scraped off, you know, moved, shifted, you know, the top of the tote, it really wouldn't, you know, be noticed because the tote's black as dirt also. And where would dirt get shifted but inside of a grave? That's what leads me to believe she is there. She's down there. And you don't have to be, you know, you don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to, you know, have no college educations to understand that. That's just common freaking everyday sense. You know that they're scared that the dirt will be shifted. Well, if I dig a big old hole and I put somebody down in there and I cover them back up, I'm not going to worry about dirt shifting to the point that, you know, that the top of that lead's going to be seen. I could stick them in there in a red tote, a blue tote, a green tote, a purple tote, a fucking, you know, rainbow color tote. I ain't going to worry about it because nobody's going to be disturbing it. Nobody's going to be disturbing it. It's going to be way down in there. The most people's going to do is be walking upon it. But it ain't going to be disturbed. The only reason I would be worried and want a black tote with a black lid is if I know there's going to be some movement going on top of it, and if enough of the dirt gets moved, it won't be noticeable. It won't really, show. You ain't going to have fingers pointing. What's that yellow thing down in there? What's that blue thing? What's that purple thing? What is that thing right there? What's that shiny red lid? That's why you want the black tote. And when people's putting vaults down in a grave, or they're putting a casket in a grave, it's going to start shifting some dirt. It's going to start shifting. It's a very good possibility that it may shift. And you don't want anything to be noticed. Just saying. Right. I don't have a college education, but I do use my common sense. Yeah, I heard that, Starbucks. Right? I heard that. I'm going to tell you. I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been, uneducated as hell, and I've been educated as hell. And I'm going to tell you something. If I could go back to the uneducated as hell side, I probably would. I tell you why. It was a lot of fun. When you're uneducated as hell, you don't care about nothing. You don't care about anything. You don't even care. You just live life. You just live life, baby. And it's beautiful. When you go and get all that education and everything, you get all educated up. A lot of shit starts bothering you. A lot of things get on your mind. A lot of people expect a lot more out of you. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. Trust and believe me. There's a lot goes along with it. Whole lot of peace and not being so educated. That's the truth. And there's probably a lot of people in here knows exactly what I'm talking about. Put a 1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. If you've been on both sides of the fence and know exactly what I'm saying, put a 1 in the chat. Because it's the truth. Yeah, ignorance is a blessing. I agree with that. I don't know who said it, but they must have got educated too. Right? They must have got educated as well. And that's, that sucks. I'm not gonna lie. I'm going to tell you, Ronnie Lawson's plainly stated, no signs of an abduction. Basically, he was telling everybody in a nice way that abduction was bullshit, and they know it. And Pruitt said, we did that extra deep dive search because we know she was there. We was going to find her. She wasn't there. Wondering off was off the table. The only thing that's on the table for real is damn foul play. And Don, Candace, and Grandis, #1 suspects. They're number one. Number one is Don, Candace, and Grandis. That's the truth. That's the truth right there. And they fucking know it. And they know it. Sad as it is, they know it. Right there. Busted. Busted. Right, Candace? Busted. Busted down at Fred's house with your little guy right there, right? It's busted right there with Chad Arnold. Right there, Candace and Chad hanging out down there at old Freddie's place. Right? Down at old Freddie's place. I think Freddie had his hands in all of this as well. And, you know, I really do. I think he had his hands in it also. How much, I don't know. But I think his hands were in it. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because, to be perfectly honest with you, when the whole truth came out, you know, when the whole truth comes out as to everything that happened to Summer Moon Utah Wells, I think that no one should be going to prison except Don, Candace, and Grandis. That's my opinion. Because, you know, because if they was doing righteous, if they'd have been doing righteousness in the sight of God, if they wouldn't have been, you know, using and abusing and allowing this child to be used and abused, and they wouldn't have been doing all the evil shit they were doing with children, none of this would have happened. None of this would have came to light to begin with. It's all their sin. Nobody else's. This sin doesn't lay at anyone's door but theirs. They implicated a lot of other people into it, but the real sin lays at no one's door but their own. And that's my opinion. And if I was the judge, I'd give them the maximum sentence that I could give them. And that's the truth. These mother freakers, man, I'm going to tell you, I would give them life. If I was able, I'd give them life. No parole. That's just my opinion. That's what I would give them. I'd give them both life over that 911 call. I'd give them both life over the 911 call. I give Domwell life for going at his daughter the way he did. And I would give Candace life for not protecting her. For being an accomplice and not protecting her child. That's my opinion. And definitely if I was a judge and I heard them admitting that they sold a tape for $5,000 of their boss, S.A. Summer, they would definitely be put in prison. I'm going to tell you, I thought video recordings held up in court. I really did. And why that one isn't in a court and why it isn't being prosecuted, I don't know. I don't understand this shit. I absolutely do not understand it. It's a shame. It's a shame, you guys. Hey, Yorkshire, I appreciate that. Super sticker. All right. Hey, I appreciate you supporting Summer's channel. God bless. God bless. Much love to you, girl. Yeah. Absolutely, Stephanie. Absolutely, girlfriend. You got that right. You got that right. And you would be. Let you go out there. Let you go out here and say something like that and see if law enforcement ain't at your door. See if they're not at your door hauling you in. They would be right at your door hauling you in. Especially if your child was already missing and they suspected this type of stuff. You would definitely be hauled in. And I'm going to tell you, they would use that video recording against you. They would use it against you and prosecute you with it. Yes, they would. And why these people ain't being prosecuted with all of these recordings, I don't know. I have no idea. Just saying. I'm going to tell you something. We all know that Don Wells couldn't resist that beautiful girl, little girl. I'm going to tell you. Brown eyes blue. That is disgusting. That is disgusting, honey. It's disgusting. And, you know, you need to check yourself. You really need to check yourself if you think a little child is appealing. You need to check yourself. You need to fall on your knees and you need to mother freaking find your God. You really do. You need to find your God and you need to be begging, not praying, but begging for some help. You need God to straighten your mind out, rewire it the right way, because it's fucking wired up the wrong way. Straight up. There is nothing appealing about a child. Children are cute. They're adorable. They're little children. They're supposed to be cute. They're supposed to be adorable. They're supposed to say, you know, things that make you laugh. They're supposed to make faces. They're supposed to, you know, do stuff, you know, off the wall things that, you know, amuse you. But they are not supposed to be looked at like a grown man or a woman. That's sick. That is sick. And I'm going to tell you, you got to be sick if you think any other way about a child. You got to be a sick human being, you know, if you think any other way about a child than a child just being a child. That child's just a child, right? It's a kid, man. It's an awkward looking, big-headed, funny talking child. What is appealing about that? There's nothing whatsoever appealing about a child. That's just sick. Like you got to be hard up and desperate to be touching a child. Something ain't right with your mind. Right? No, I'm not misunderstanding what you said, sweetheart. I understand fully what you were saying about Don Wells. And it's sick. I understood fully who you were talking about. You thought I was talking to you? You thought I was talking to you? I hope not. I hope not, because I wasn't. Exactly. But he's sick. He's sick. What you were saying is he couldn't resist her. He couldn't resist her because he's a sick human being. And I believe that. I believe that. In my opinion, yes. Absolutely. I mean, he done put, how many little girls did he put through pure hell and tragedy up there in Utah? I mean, he also tried to sell his son and his daughter, right? And then he went over into Arkansas, and they were bringing people there. You know, they was bringing people there with children so that, you know, so that the people, you know, the weirdos hanging around, you know, could SA children. There was many children taken away from Dom and Pam's property and not ever given back because they were SA'd, right? They took them because of SA. They were SAers hanging around. And basically that's what Don and Candace was saying, was hanging around in Tennessee. Right? They were saying that these people were hanging around in Tennessee as well. I mean, what part of that did we not understand? You know, when Don Wells is right here, you know.
You said you had.
It is you do, you little.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
But my boss called me the other day. I am. Yes.
Okay.
Richard.
Oh.
He called me. I said that I sold somebody a tape. Right. I sold some motherfucker a tape for $5,000 that showed him having sex with my daughter. Right. And then I sold. And he was crying. This motherfucker was actually crying. This motherfucker is like a big shot of this community. Like, oh, holy fuck. And he was crying. He says, but they're calling me a child molester. And I'm like, I started laughing.
That's hard to listen to, you guys. That's really hard to listen to. No, brown eyes. Blue, I did not say. I was not talking about you. I was talking about Don Wells. I was agreeing with you. I was agreeing. If you took it wrong, I'm sorry that you did. But no, don't put words in my mouth, please. Don't put words in my mouth, because that's not true. You misunderstood. You misunderstood, and I'm sorry that you did. But no, I did not say that about you. I wouldn't say anything like that about you at all, or to you. Somehow it got got taken out of context. You know, I mean, I could see how you might have thought that I was speaking to you, but you plainly heard me say you didn't think I was speaking to you, did you? Because I wasn't. If you go back and look at your comment and what you said Don Wells couldn't resist Summer. And I agreed. He has problems. He has issues. You heard that on the 911 call. Yeah, she took it, you know, it got taken out of context. You know, that's the problem. That's the problem, you know, reading text, right? When you're reading the chat is people, you know, I don't like the text. I like, you know, like with my kids and my sister and my family, when, you know, I don't text people. You know, my kids like to text and a lot of people do. I don't. I will call them. I will call because I want them to hear my voice and know exactly what I'm saying, what I'm meaning. And, you know, and still things can get misconstrued, right? And so, you know, it is what it is, you know. Yeah, yeah. You know, I was basically telling her that, yeah, you know, that's disgusting. That's sick. That's, you know, no one should ever think that way about a child. You know, um, I probably, you know, I forget that people take things personal. You know, I'm one of those people, I don't take stuff personal. You know, very seldom do I take anything personal. Um, you know, very seldom. But I have, you know, misread things and, you know, matter of fact, I have misread things and actually gave people the boot and had to apologize later, right? So I know how it goes. I know how it goes, but you know, but I apologize. You know, if she took it wrong, I apologize because I would, you know, I love Brown Eyes Blue. You guys know I love all of y'all, and I would never. I mean, you guys, you know, you guys are here. You're here, you know, for Summer Moon Utah Wells. You're here, you know, for the because you want people like the Wells to be brought to justice, and some are found. You know, you want the same. We all want the same thing. We're all on the same page. Why would I be talking? You know, why would I be talking to one of you like that? That's insane. That's not even, you know. So I don't know how, but I guess it can be done. Like I said, you know, I can remember, you know, a few times that I, you know, I went mayhem, right? Taking something wrong. Like I said, then I had to apologize and, you know, release the person out of PG hell and everything else. So I understand how it could be done. And I forget, you know, that people can take stuff personal in the chat, you know, like feel like you're talking to them instead of agreeing with them. So, you know, my bad, my bad. Yeah, you know, it's like that Murphy's Law, right? Everything that can go wrong will. Right. I guess that's kind of like what happened right there. And, you know, and Brown Eye Blue, you know, she took it personal and, you know, I hope she, you know, realizes that I was not talking to her. I'm not tech savvy. Hey girl, if you got a Facebook, if you're on Summer's Facebook, you can talk to me. You can talk to me there. I mean, that's how I talk to everybody. That's how I call everybody and they call me and you know, that's how I talk to most everyone is through Facebook. No, I read her comment. If you go back, I read her comment. And then I told her that was disgusting. That was disgusting. That, you know, when I said that was, you know, that is disgusting, I was, you know, agreeing that, yeah, it's disgusting that, you know, he is that type of person. He is that type of person. I don't know how I really don't know how she took that personal. You know, that probably will keep me awake tonight. Freaking wondering, you know, how she took it personal. But it can happen. It can happen, you guys. Trust me. Like I said, I've done some I've done some, you know, I've had my tail feathers go up in the air a few times, right? Because I didn't, you know, I read the comment too fast. You know, I was basically, you know, I guess at the time, you know, it was not what it said, it's what I was wanting it to say. Right? Or I thought it was saying. And and got my tail feathers in the air, and I had to come back and, like I said, apologize. But hey, I apologize. I'm one of those people. If I'm wrong, I admit it. I ain't too damn big to admit my wrongs. I gotta admit them to God all the time, right? I gotta admit them to God every day. Every day, I gotta admit them to God. I say, Lord, my feet's about to hit the floor. Please let them, you know, do nothing but righteousness throughout this day. And next thing I know, you know, somebody done pissed me off. It all went south. And I tell you, you gotta tell, you know, you gotta apologize. You gotta apologize all the time. People think that, you know, that God and Jesus is just for, you know, just for the sinners. No. God and Jesus is not just for the sinners. God and Jesus is for everybody. Right? We mess up all the time. Even the righteous mess up. You know, Jesus died so that all the sinners can, you know, can get righteous. But even the righteous mess up and have to, you know, and have to ask for forgiveness over and over again. No matter how righteous you think you are, man, I'll tell you, you still won't ever be worthy. You still won't ever be worthy, you know, to touch the feet of Jesus Christ. You won't be able to, you ain't worthy to touch his feet. You ain't worthy to touch 1 inch of him. We won't ever be that worthy, no matter how hard we try. You know, it's by their grace and kindness and love and caring that Jesus will reach out and take your hand. But we're not worthy. Nobody is. That's my opinion. Yes, we do, Carmen. We all mess up. That is the truth. Girlfriend, I'll tell you what. Shh. You don't even know. I be messing up. I be messing up like crazy. I've got it, you know. I got a lot of patience, but I got a real temper. You know. And evilness makes me angry. I don't like evilness. I don't like to see people. I don't like to see no one, you know, doing evil to someone else. I don't like people that, you know, are mean and cruel and evil to other people. I guess I put up with the evilness so long in my life that I just can't stand it. And I watch how, you know, how these people treat other people, and it sickens me. It sickens me. I don't find them funny. I don't find them cute. I don't find anything appealing about evil humans. And I got a real low tolerance for them as well. I don't know. Candace has got a lot of different personalities. When you say she's, you know, ill like that, I agree. I don't think she's got a lot of personalities. I think she's got one personality, and it sucks. And she tries to hide it. She tries to hide it, cover it up, you know, with this, her and Donald both want to play. They want to play on your heartstrings. They love to play on people's heartstrings like they're the victim. and everything, you know, and they're being done so wrong. And that's how they try to suck you in, use you up, mess you up, and spit you back out. And if you're silly enough to let them, they will do it. I've seen them do it. I've seen them do it. And it is, man, it's tragic. It's tragic to watch. But that's the way evil people are. All evil people are like that. Not just Don and Candace. All evil people are like that. You know, let's not isolate it. We can't isolate evilness just to Don and Candace Wells. Look what Brian Kohlberger went into that house and did. I mean, the one girl, not Maddie, but Kaylee. Kaylee's face, they said they couldn't even tell who she was. They couldn't even, you know, identify her. It was so horrific. And look what he did, you know, and then he goes, you know, he goes and chases after, you know, Xanax. And you know, look what he did to her. And then he wasn't even done there. He wasn't done there, because then, you know, he got on her boyfriend, right? He got on her boyfriend, and whoa, if you hear the stories, you know, if you hear the stories of some of the stuff he did in there, it is terrorizing. It's terrorizing, you know, to hear how brutal this man was. And evil people are brutal. They're very brutal, you know? And they're brutal like that because they have no conscience. They have no boundaries, you know? And the reason they do what they do is because they feel they can. He felt he could, and he did. You know, what kept evil people back in history? Let's go back in history, you know, and I'm talking way back, like, you know, back in the cowboy and Indian days. Okay, let's go way back in history. Now, if you want to take it back to history, the one thing that kept evil people at bay was because they knew better than to mess with those folks. They knew better than to mess with the righteous people. They knew better than to try to come, you know, overbearing and take what ain't theirs. Because those people, you know, those righteous people they were going to stand their ground. You ain't going to come and take nothing from me. You're going to be pushing up the daisies if you come around and, you know, bring your evil self around and try to intrude where you're, you know, where you have no right intruding. These people stood their ground. And that's exactly, you know, exactly why evilness was kept at bay. Because evilness knew better. They knew better than to mess with those folks. Those folks wasn't playing with you. They were righteous folks, but they weren't playing with you. They were always on guard. They was always ready, you know, and they was, you know, they were mean too. They were mean. But they were righteous folks. They didn't want to hurt nobody. But if, you know, if they were forced to, well, they were ready. And that's, you know, that's what kept the bad people at bay. But today's world, people ain't ready for it. People ain't ready for it. You know, they're not holding off the evilness. They're entertaining it. And that's where, you know, you make your mistake. Oh, yeah. Sitting on the floor playing with the toys. Yes, she was. She was. But I think the reason she was doing that, was because, you know, she was wanting to. Candace and Dom Wells are, you know, kind of like, they like to play games. They like to, you know, I think she was doing that to make that Kathy woman feel sorry for her. Candace and Dom Wells, boy, they will go to extremes to try and, you know, Candace loves playing the victim. Don's the big bad wolf, and Candace is the victim. And that, you know, and that's how she likes to play it when she's no victim at all. I'm going to tell you who's the victim. Is whoever those two seem to get in their clutches. Those are the victims. Those kids were the victims. Other people's kids were the victims. Other people were the victims. But Don and Candace, oh, hell no. Those people, they ain't no victims. But I see where you're talking about now, how about the personalities. Yeah, I see how you could, you know, come to that conclusion. Absolutely. Oh yeah, man, I'm going to tell you, they would call me up. Don and Candace would call me at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not lying. They would call me up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, wanting to play a game, with people. You know, they'd be, sissy, listen, and they want to play a game with somebody. I say, why you want to do that? Right? Why you want to do that? Because it's fun. It's funny. No, that shit ain't fun, and it's not funny, man. You know, leave me out of that shit. I don't do that stuff. You know, you're supposed to be looking for your daughter. You're supposed to be concerned with your daughter. What the hell's all this game playing stuff? You know, why are you doing this? You know, it took me a while, you know, to understand how sinister these people were. It really did. You know, because like most people, you know, like all of you, I was trying to look for, you know, logical reasons as to why they would be, you know, wanting to do the things they were doing. I wanted to look for logical reasons, as we all do. But there's no logical reason in evilness. It's not there. Yeah, you don't know. You don't know how well I got to know those people. I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't. And if it wasn't for Summer's sake, I wouldn't have. That's the truth. I really wanted this little girl to be found. I really want her case solved. And I've endured a lot of hell trying to get that done. I've spent a lot of sleepless nights, done a lot of research, called a lot of people, talked to many, many people. Everything I can possibly do to figure out what happened to this child. I've worked overtime, and that would be an understatement. I put a lot of time, a lot of effort into this little child's case. And I, you know, endured a lot of shit that will fuck up anybody's mind. when encountering Don and Candace Wells and how sinister they are. Those are some really evil human beings. And the normal-minded person, I don't think could have sustained all the bullshit and tragedy that I've had to endure and listen to during all of this for Summer's sake. You got to be a special kind of human being to be able to do what it takes to help missing kids. And you've got to be really strong. If you're one of those people, you know, that cry at the drop of the hat, that can't, you know, that can't sustain hearing and seeing and knowing things, you won't make it. You won't make it when it comes to all of this evilness, you know, that surrounds these cases. Because when you're back here, when you're creators hear and see and learn a lot of stuff that they don't ever bring to this panel because it's too graphic. It's so graphic, we can't bring it here. We can't show you. But our minds had to see it. Our minds, you know, our eyes had to read it, or our ears had to hear it. We go through a lot. We go through a lot of hell doing what we do. We bring as much to you as we can, but there's a whole lot that you don't ever, you know, that your minds don't ever, you know, don't ever have to endure. That's just the way it is. But anyway, I've kept you guys long enough. I'm going to head out of here. Probably should have headed out earlier so that so I didn't, you know, seem to offend one of our family members here. But I hope they, you know, hope they understand I was not speaking to them. I do apologize if they feel I did. And I feel bad. I feel bad, you know, that they thought that I was, you know, that I was. It makes me feel bad. I don't like people, you know, I don't like people having their feelings hurt, you know. At the end of the day, you know, I might seem like a real hard ass to a lot of people, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm a really good person. As hard as that is to believe, I am a very good person. At least I try to be. Anyhow, let's get out of here. Let's get some rest. I got to work tomorrow, you guys. And, you know, I listened tonight along with you guys to a whole lot of stuff that you know, nobody wants to listen to. Nobody wants to hear. But I'm going to tell you what, for Summer's sake, we have to. For Summer's sake, we have to face the truth. This is all about Summer. It's not about me. You know, it's not about anybody. except this little girl. And it's all about her. You know, this is going to all boil down to, is Summer going to be found, or is her case just going to run cold? That's what it's all boiling down to. And I'm kind of upset because somebody in here tonight said that Ronnie Lawson said he, Dunn said he's not going to go digging on somebody's grave. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that. But I'm going to tell you what, because I was under the impression that, they were going to check in to that particular cemetery to see if there's any truth to what all of these, suspects surrounding the case are saying. I thought that, they was going to look into that. So I will get back with law enforcement tomorrow, and I will personally find out if there's any truth to that. If Ronnie Lawson has made any comment or statement to that effect. Because that's got me upset. I ain't heard nothing like that. And I'm sure if it was said, I would have done heard it. Hey, I appreciate that, CJ. Girlfriend. God bless and much love. Spread the love. You're making me jealous. I'm getting jelly, girlfriend. You get tomorrow off. I am getting nothing but weekends. And sometimes I don't get that. I don't get nothing but weekends. A lot of times I pull overtime. I do overtime. But hey, I'm glad to see somebody. I'm glad to see somebody's getting a break. I'm glad for you. I'm super happy for you, girlfriend. You rest tomorrow. Get up in the morning and do a happy dance. Do a happy dance. I know I would be. I'd be like, happy dance, day off. Hell yeah. Shoot, I'd be pampering myself all day long. I'd be pampering myself. Day off in the middle of the week. Shoot, that's a rarity right there. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. All right, I'm out of here, you guys. But not before I ask you, as usual, keep the prayers going up for Summer Moon Utah Wells. Keep them going up. From your lips to God's ears, He is listening. He's listening. Always, when you pray, always say, in the holy name of Jesus Christ, Lord God, I pray in the holy name of Jesus. Please let this baby be found. Let her be brought home. Let justice get served, God. Let these people pay for the evilness that they've done. Right? Let them pay. They have a heaven to gain, a hell to shun. Let them pay for their sins on earth, Lord. Let them find you. Let them find you, but let them pay for these sins on earth. Let justice get served. And let closure be had. So many people love these children. So many people care about them. So many people are invested in all of this, Father. Please give them closure. And her little brothers, they need closure too. So in the holy name of Jesus, please answer our prayers. Amen. Always pray in the holy name of Jesus, because that's what God hears. We got to go through Jesus to get to God. There's no other way. The only way to the Father is through His Son, Jesus Christ. So make sure that you bow your head tonight, put your hands together, and pray for these missing kids. Pray for Michael Vaughn, Sebastian Rogers, for Jack and Lily. Pray for these babies. Ask God to let them be found. Let closure be had. In His Son's holy name. Amen. And pray for one another, you guys. Pray for one another. Everybody needs prayer. The best gift you can give anyone is prayer. That's the best gift. It's free. It's free. Don't cost a dime. Best gift you can give anybody is to pray for them. Pray that God watches over them and protects them and keeps them safe. In Jesus' holy name. Pray for one another, you guys. We all need prayer. Good night. God bless. Much, much love.